And to some, they have very good stories of how they started from scratch and built their empires to profitability. And that's the reason why Bizna Kenya and MC Moments have partnered to bring you Biz Talks. And here we shall be hosting mentors, people who have gone ahead of us, people who have created these empires, people who have also on the verge of creating these particular big businesses. And these lessons will be valuable for you, the business person, for you, the aspiring business person, the entrepreneur, so that at least you can make wise decisions when it comes to building that business. So every Friday,
Two, one.
all right, good morning and welcome to Biz Talks. I hope you've been keeping well, of course, safe in this particular period where we have a lot of these challenges that we see. Corona is still around. And of course, sending my shout outs to all Tanzanians who could be watching. Poleni sana. Now, welcome back, and just to inform you that these are conversations that we hope will help you as a business person, aspiring business person, entrepreneur. Even if you're working as well, it's important because we know there are people who really support businesses by what they do. So today the conversation is a little bit, let me call it deep. Why? Because we're going to talk about the state of manufacturing in this country. And our guest today is an amazing lady who leads one of the organs there. That's the Women in Manufacturing sector, and as well as heading the Corporate Affairs Department of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Her name is Sally, and she'll be telling us more about her. For now, as usual, let's have some Melvin's cup of tea. Welcome to the show, Sally.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. So welcome to my set, and my set is colored. As you can tell, there's so many colors.
Yes.
And the reason is because of the tea that we offer here, courtesy of Melvin's.
I love this setup. It's really nice. Yes.
Elaborate, eh?
Yes.
And you see the branding as well looks very African.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love their tea, actually. Yeah.
So what's your favorite? You know, I noticed you peeped, but did you see something that you like?
I like Berry Blast.
Oh.
Yes, it gives you that energy, that morning vavavoom.
Okay.
That's my, Berry Blast is definitely my choice.
So this is it, right?
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Okay, I'm sure I have them in my cool box here.
Oh, that's really
so
nice.
I think what you'll do, I'll serve you some hot water,
okay,
so you can pick it up.
That's fine.
As well as I take my tangawizi. I'm still old school with my tangawizi. So, all right. So how have you been?
Great. Busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me pull this because this is really hot water.
Is it?
I'm sure this one comes with the tea. It comes out well with the tea.
Oh, thanks
so
for breakfast.
Tanzania's morning, they lost their leader, and I know a leader is a symbol of unity. So I'm sure there's a bit of sadness.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, there are so many diverse opinions about the leader, but he was a leader.
Yeah.
And Tanzanians had chosen him. So
a
shout out to them all. Tell them pole sana.
That's true.
It's harsh to lose such a leader, you know,
and
a progressive one in many circles as well. So good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Have you taken your? Just pick it up. Yeah, and it's well colored. What color is that?
It's got the colors of the Women's Month of March.
Yeah.
I hear the theme colors now is purple, pink.
Okay. So that's it.
So I'm staying true to to the Women's Month of March. Yeah.
I feel like trying something different because they had this lemon and ginger. Because of the season, you know, we want to be very safe.
That's true. Yes. So
I'm going to try this. I'll be telling you, our viewers, how this one comes out.
Take your vitamins.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. All right. So welcome to the show, and I'm sure our viewers can't wait to really get to understand what the Association of Manufacturers is doing. But before we get into that, I want to give you the opportunity or the honor to kindly let our viewers know who is Sally. I know my intro was just minimal, but feel free to now, explore it out. Of course, in light of the fact that this month, as you said, we are choosing to challenge, and celebrating women and what they're doing.
Yes.
That's why the show is also dedicated to just have ladies on the show until the man is over. Of course, we'll still have more later on.
Yes.
But yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm glad that you said you still have more ladies later on. I was going to challenge you on that. So my name is Sally Kahio.
Yeah.
I am a storyteller.
Wow.
I am a story maker. I believe in stories.
Yeah.
I believe in Africa.
Okay.
I believe in young people, and I believe in women.
Wow.
I work with brands a lot, and that is how my story making and my storytelling comes together.
Okay.
So for now, at this point in my life, I am very privileged to be working with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers.
Yeah.
And I wear two hats, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
The first hat is as the head of communications and marketing for the association.
Yes.
And the other one is the lead coordinator for women in manufacturing.
All right.
I had a conversation yesterday with somebody who we were saying it's not like we woke up and one day chose to be very passionate about women. It wasn't a choice. I just found myself like this.
Yeah.
Like even when you're young, you're like, this is wrong, this should not be happening. You just don't have the language to articulate some of these things.
Okay.
So so pretty much I have a passion in storytelling, and I have a passion in storytelling specifically about women.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that side of you, but now that's quite you. Okay.
Yes.
But I know you're an avid reader of African literature, so maybe that's
I
just...
really am. And just women from the diaspora.
Yeah.
So different women from different cultures.
Okay.
Yeah, so they inform me.
Okay.
Yes, about the world, how they see the world. How women see the world is very interesting.
It's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll get into that.
I'll get into those insights later on.
Yes.
But somebody said that leaders are good readers as well. So that tells that you're a leader in your own way. So let's get to understand a little bit of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. I know there's a lot that they do. We may not delve into that so much, but just in a little bit of some understanding level, what is the role and mandate? Because there are many business people probably who will be hearing this for the first time.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some as well who are members, but for the ones who are hearing this for the first time, what's the role of KAM, and why should people really think about being part and parcel of this membership?
So Kenya Association of Manufacturers has one of the most long-standing stories in Kenya's growth and Kenya's economic development, and a very centric role in terms of even the formation that is the nation of Kenya. Yeah. Because Kenya Association of Manufacturers is 62 years old this year. So it's quite established, but as I said, has been here for a really long time, charting the way and the trajectory for the economic growth of the country, and really just partnering with different stakeholders and mostly the government in seeing to it that this happens. So I know there's a lot of confusion about who Kenya Association of Manufacturers is. A lot of people think it's government. It is not government. So let me just clarify. Kenya Association of Manufacturers is an association of all value-add industries. However, inside of our membership, we do have people who offer services that are critical to the manufacturing sector. So you will find that within the association, yes, and 80% of our membership is guys who manufacture. You make bread, if you make yogurt, and by the way, it doesn't matter how small or how big, as long as you have a role and a place in the association, as long as you're doing some bit of value adding, and it's up to us to make sure that we can build your capacity for you to enhance your business. And then you have people who come in and say, hey, I can offer insurance tailored towards your manufacturing business, because manufacturers have very different needs from all other businesses in the country. Yes.
So that means it's quite wide. It's not just for the manufacturers, it's also businesses around it, and all that.
Yes.
I want to endear you as well to tell the people what would be my benefit if I'm a manufacturer and I join you?
Yeah.
What are some of these particular benefits that would be associated with that?
Okay, so the first thing is that, of course, you get to plug into the wider network of manufacturers, established manufacturers.
So you're within a network.
Yes, yes, you're within a network. You're not just by yourself floating out there. And then I would say, of course, the biggest thing that you get is the policy advocacy bit, that we get to actually advocate for a conducive business environment for your business to thrive. Absolutely. And we look at different sectors within the manufacturing industry. So we've classified the industry into different sectors. We have people who do sugar, we have people who do salt, we have people who do timber and furniture, plastic, rubber, metal, so we have 14 sectors in total. And if you're doing food, if you're doing juices, there's somewhere that you belong. What is it that you need? Bring your needs to the table, and we will make sure to amplify your voice. We'll make sure to advocate for you with government in terms of what matters for you to run your business. But over and above that, we do have our business competitiveness services, which look at how your business can be more competitive globally and regionally and globally. So you can't operate like you're doing everything within a vacuum. Remember, there's a global community out there that you want to plug into. You want to export. Everyone starts with a dream of wanting to export. Even you, in your business minor, you don't want to, you want to say, I want to go to Tanzania, I want to go to Uganda, I want to go to Morocco. How can you export your business as a manufacturer? We get you to be at that level, at a global international certified standards level, by giving you this business competitiveness services. So we have, we educate you and we inform you through our manufacturing academy. We have our manufacturing SME hub tailored specifically for small businesses, micro, small and medium businesses. And we look at what is it that you need maybe to accelerate your business, what is it that you need to scale your business. We also have our green growth and climate change programs that look at issues of green growth, climate change. How do you use your energy? How do you we are looking at issues of the circular economy now. That's what the world is talking about. You can't do things linear. You use this thing, and then at the end of the day, the shelf life it ends up in a dump site somewhere in Dandora. We have to find a way to keep we have to find a way to keep looking after our environment. If the world has taught us anything so far, is that we need to take care of it for it to take care of us.
Absolutely.
So those are the kind of lessons and trainings that we take our members through. So we have our energy audits, our water audits. We have a lot of our members who actually practice these things. You find members who don't have any wastewater. In their factories. They have massive factories, but they just find a way of making this water clean, having it run through the process. At the end of the day, they even make their own electricity from the steam. Like, it's an amazing process when you see what our members can do out there. And you can get to do this too. So if you start, don't think that, me, I'm just doing yogurt in my kitchen. That's how you start. Start by thinking, how do I get my yogurt from my kitchen to Carrefour? That is something that Kenya Association of Manufacturers can help you do.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very much in detail, and thanks a lot for that. I didn't know it was that wide.
Yes, it is.
So maybe for anyone who's watching, I think you can see the clear benefits that are there of really just joining. So I know I want to close this part of the association and what you're doing.
Okay.
But I'm sure the quick question would be, okay, fine, I love what you guys are doing. I want to join you. What should they do if someone wants to join?
Come, get onto our website, see what we've got for you. But I forgot to say that we do a lot of research. So you're covered in terms of finding out what's relevant in the world. Get onto our website, see what we're doing. All our contacts are there. But if you think, website or Kazimingi Sina, just go on Twitter. Say, guys, hey, how do I join you? Immediately we'll respond to you.
Wow.
And we can begin the process of letting you know how you get onboarded onto the membership.
Okay.
So it's quite a simple process.
Okay.
And you can get in touch with us anywhere, Twitter, Facebook. We are also on Instagram. If life continues, we might be on TikTok. You might see me on TikTok, Mina, so fingers crossed.
Can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, but yes.
No, I love
Yes,
this.
yes.
Okay. I think you have all the information. Get to their website. That's the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and their details of how to can even contact them and join.
Yeah.
Our subject today, we call it gender inclusivity and empowerment. Of course, because of the month, definitely.
Yes.
And we really want to celebrate the role of women. By the way, speaking of which, in as much as there's this sad news that has happened, we, I think, are about to witness the first woman president in East Africa.
Right.
Yeah,
Isn't that
so
something?
I know it's something.
Yes.
It's something to look up
yes,
to.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
so which
yes.
is amazing, though.
Yes.
But now, let's move to the gender card now.
Yes.
And, you began in your introduction about how passionate you are about empowering women. You're already in the manufacturing sector, leading a sector that is geared to just empowering women. And maybe I want to get to understand, why are you passionate about this first, and then we can get to the details of what you're doing about it.
Right, so I think that's a very complicated question.
Yes.
How much time do you have? Can we go back into history and talk about, so my passion for women is something that I didn't have to cultivate.
Okay.
It's something that I've always had. Okay, so I come from a line of very strong, very passionate women about their communities. My grandmother, the woman that I'm named after, used to be those women who, she actually started one of the first chamas in her
Village or something?
Village.
Yes.
Because all these women in the church kept thinking, we don't have a way of making money for ourselves, and the little that we get, we don't have a way of managing it.
Yeah.
And so the story that I was told was that, Shosho looked and she was like, you know what, why don't we get together, the 10 of us? And then they got my mother, who was at that time, I think 12 years old, and they told her, you go to school, sit there, you're the one to take the notes and do the accounting for us.
Yeah.
So they started getting involved in that way of organizing women in that level of the community to be able to empower themselves through their earnings, however meager, through their savings. I mean, these women would bring chicken to each other. You don't have to bring money, 10,000, 1,000. If Mina is feeling sick, or Mina's wife has been unwell, okay, Mina, here's a chicken that you can go and cook for you, for your children. But it's where it's coming from, you know.
Yeah.
So as I said, so this is something that has always been in me. I just probably did not have the language to articulate why I'm passionate about women. Okay. I think conversations about women should also be centric. I don't think they should be relegated to the month of March. I think everywhere that we are talking about economic development, everywhere that we're talking about poverty alleviation, the conversation about women should not be, and women. Let's talk about the East Africa community integration, and women. No, it should always be one of the most central things that you actually talk about.
Okay.
So this is something that I've pursued throughout my life. I did a research study that was on new media and feminism when I was a bit younger. I came back into the country, and then I worked for a few clients like Trademark East Africa, who actually concentrate on women in cross-border trade. That's one of the programs they run, and I think that's where I got also the language to articulate and the curiosity. What is with this trade thing? What is with this manufacturing thing? And so it's not by accident that I ended up working for Kenya Association of Manufacturers, because I think the way the sector plays, the role the sector plays in terms of alleviating poverty, in terms of bringing together other sectors, because think about it, the agriculture sector, though it is the largest sector in this country,
absolutely.
However, the largest revenue earner for the country is the manufacturing sector.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yes. So just looking at how can we take advantage of the way our land is fertile, the way we have been very strong in agriculture, and do value addition. And where do we do value addition? In manufacturing.
Okay, and I see it because I think there was somebody who was talking about, how a lot of our raw products will get out of this country and then come back to us at a higher cost, definitely.
Exactly.
Because value addition was done elsewhere.
Exactly.
And so we're saying, or from what I'm getting from what you're talking about, is that we need to get to levels where we're doing everything here and exporting a final product.
And
out.
we can. And I'll tell you now why I talked about those two sectors.
Yeah.
Is because in those two sectors you will find women.
Yeah.
Who do you find in tea plantations?
A lot of women picking.
Yes. Who do you find making clothes? Who do you find? There's a lot of women playing some roles.
Yeah.
However, if we looked for a way to elevate both sectors, we will then elevate the levels at which these women play in terms of their economic participation. Because it's not just about having women there and then having them at the periphery or having them at the lowest levels, so that then when something happens and there's an economic downturn, they're the first ones to be let go. Then obviously we are continuing the cycle of having women continuously being economically disadvantaged.
Wow.
So growing these sectors means that you're growing the women who have the ability to be absorbed within these sectors and growing them meaningfully. If you think about something like cotton farming, and really, if we perfect the farm to fashion value chain.
By the way, you mentioned cotton. Are we still having it? Yeah.
We are. I think with the revival of Rivertex, we are bound to see some action there.
Okay.
But really, I was just giving it as an example of that is just one value chain. We've not even talked about tea. We've not talked about, There
are many others, yes.
If we do what we can in terms of making sure that these sectors flourish, how much more can the women who are already there and other women who are, when you look at the statistics of farming in Africa, who are the biggest subsistence farmers?
Well,
the biggest percentage of subsistence farmers.
Well,
it's women.
Women, yes. I'm not trying to mean anything. Absolutely.
So I'm just saying that there is, when we talk about competitiveness and productivity of the manufacturing sector, we are not just saying do it for the companies. We are actually saying this has a long-term, very tangible effect on the economic progress of this country.
Wow.
Yes.
And we certainly don't agree any less. Absolutely. and I love the drive and the fact that you're not just talking about it, there are many things that you're doing about it, which is what I actually want to now get into.
Yes. Because
I want to believe this, because I did a bit of research, that the women in manufacturing branch now, if I may call it that, under the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, was birthed under your watch. I don't know whether it used to exist before, but maybe you will tell us that. So maybe a little bit of the history and now its role, what you are doing to ensure that women are at the table and just moving the discussion when it comes to matters manufacturing.
The Women in Manufacturing program, wow. It started in 2017. By then I was 2 years into, actually 1.5 years into Kenya Association of Manufacturers.
Lovely.
And serving my second chairperson, who happened to be the first ever female chair of the association in its then 57 years of existence.
And who happened to be on this table?
And this was Flora Mutahi, whose tea we are drinking today.
Salute.
So a big shout out to her. So when she came on board, so it was Flora at the helm, and then of course Phyllis as the CEO. And this was a moment for us to reflect as an association.
Whoa, so you had a chair who was a lady and the CEO was a lady.
And just say, okay, this is good, this is great. Yes, for us as an association. It took us 57 years, but we are here. However, what does this say about women's voices within the sector? Where are women? Where are they employed? Are they formally employed? What are their businesses like? Do they have enough voices? Do their voices have enough amplification? Where are they speaking? How can we begin to tell their story? Because some of the women that I have met during the course of this program tell us the one thing that bothers us is that people don't know what we are doing. Nobody talks about us.
Yeah,
and when nobody talks about you, nobody calls you to the table.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay, I get
because you're not top of
you
mind. You're not top of mind. I'll call whoever. But if you're not top of mind, then I will not call you to the table.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
And so, great thing. Some women have actually gone and formed their own tables and called themselves to the table.
Yes.
Amazing. We want to tell those stories, and we want to see what they're doing for them, because they're doing some transformative things for their communities.
Yeah.
That's the thing about having women in manufacturing.
Wow.
And those are, for me as a storyteller, those are some of the things that I want to highlight.
Wow.
Not just to show the impact that they're making to the economy, which is massive, which is rarely talked about, but also to show the reason why there needs to be more goodwill and more policies injected into, or rather developed for the manufacturing sector to ensure that there's a conducive environment for the women to thrive.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And you know, I really want to appreciate what you're doing. So that's sounds like a journey of about 3-4 years there, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I think that's amazing. So, you know, as I said again, I'm very keen on what you're doing, so I checked a little bit, and I noticed that you were actually going around the country. I don't know whether it was to reach more women there, or, you know, I don't know how was, first of all, the experience going around the country? Did you discover new things? And why were you going around?
Why were we going around? So in our four or so years of existence as a program under Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we're still growing, and there are a lot of things that we're still learning, so that we can then become a more stable program to then deliver for these women in manufacturing. So last year we were very able to reach a milestone within the program, and this milestone was the launch of the first ever Women in Manufacturing report study in the country. I think it's also the first ever in East Africa. I don't know if there's anybody who has sat down to actually collect statistics of women in the manufacturing sector.
Well, I haven't heard of any.
So, and we also had a very hard time making references because there were no statistics.
Wow.
So
you had to go to the ground and ask
and start up, and it was a very ambitious project, but it's something that we are very proud of, because this lays out the groundwork for us to find out, as I said, the questions that we were asking ourselves when we started this at first is, who are these women? What are they saying? Are they owners? Are they founders? If they're employed, where are they employed, at what levels, what are the numbers? So that is what was covered in the report study, and that's something that we're proud of. So now why we were going around the country is, number one, is to disseminate this report study. So it's not something that we just launched, and they are not numbers that are sitting pretty on some cabinet somewhere waiting to be dusted. And no, we had to go around and actively involve policymakers in the counties to look at this study and tell them, this is a very formative study, I must admit, because it was also very ambitious, but it gives us a ground, or a foundation upon which to start anchoring some conversations on. And that is why we were going around. So we were going around to meet policymakers and decision makers in counties. We were also going around to speak to our members who contributed very much into the development of this report. And as you said, to meet new women in manufacturing. And that was such an eye-opening experience for us, because we really did learn a lot. We met this amazing, well, can I give an example?
I would like to.
So we met this amazing, one of the many amazing stories, but met this amazing woman in Wasengishu who's in the food and beverage sector. And she's called Rachel. And Rachel started, the way she started her business was by going to get raw materials at 4 in the morning on a motorbike.
Wow.
And then she says when she gets there, that was like, her field was very male dominated, so her competitors, so to speak, were already gathering their raw materials. But then they had pickups, they had big trucks, they had trailers, you know, and there she's coming with her motorbike. So she was like, okay, I started this way, kidogo I moved from my motorbike to, I took a taxi, from a taxi I approached someone, they funded me, I bought my pickups, and now I'm going to buy a track. But more to that, what Rachel has also done is that she has now helped her community. So she's not just gone at it alone, and that's okay too. But what she's tried to do is, what else can I do? So she's used her money to, or rather she's used her position and her company and some of the things that she's doing to start a circle for her community, the guys who work in her factory and the people who live around there. So now they have a circle. Wow. She's put up some kiosks for some of the residents around her area.
Wow.
She does she does sell unga, and maybe she does put her unga there, but she's also given them a means for them to earn a living.
Absolutely, a livelihood.
And
right?
out of that, she's also given 30 young people motorbikes for them to make a living out of transport business. Because if I'm making, like I said, my example, I don't know why I like giving an example of yogurt, but if I'm making yogurt in my kitchen and I want to take it to Miner's house, I will use a motorbike guy.
Absolutely.
So we have to keep the money circulating in the economy somehow. And it just amazed me the level of impact that Rachel has. And she's not what you would call a really huge company. You know, she has employed maybe at most 8 people. But she's done more than that for over 50 people. So those are some of the transformative, amazing stories we're coming across in the counties.
Wow.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
So in case I know you're wondering, I know people would, there are many ladies who are watching as well and are wondering, okay, I feel like I'm so endeared as well to WIM, the Women in Manufacturing part of it. So I want to believe that even for them to join this, just need to also visit the website as well. So join
Kenya Association of Manufacturers.
Absolutely.
And then let us know. Let's have a discussion.
Absolutely.
You know, as we are like those people, relationship, we really value relationships. We don't just tell you, okay, here's a form, sign up, come tell us. No, we just want to see what value do you want to get out of the association. And then we see how we can help you. So it's not just, okay, fill the form online and no, come contact us, walk in, or, you know, email us and say, this is what I want to get. Can I get this?
Lovely. Lovely. Okay, so I want to throw a challenge to our viewers. Maybe if you're a business person and you're watching and you're saying, okay, I hear you. I would want to know as well from your end, what are you doing to ensure this gender inclusivity in your organization is happening? Is it a challenge? Is it working? Are you still thinking about it? Please let us know. And you never know, you might end up going home with something from Melvin. So keep the conversation ongoing. And of course, if you're on Facebook, click that share button so that everybody can get to know that this matters and they need to hear this story about why it is important to be part of this network on the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. You did a first, and that was the launch of a report, the the Women in Manufacturing report. I saw that being launched colorfully, of course. And I know, of course, it's about the affairs that you've spoken about, generally what you've spoken about, but I would want to, shoot some questions straight to you, or one of it maybe. Any key findings that was so interesting and you're like, wow, it is important for people to know this, that was in the report that you will share?
There were many findings that stood out for us. Some of them were for example, what is the current framework like in Kenya in terms of gender equality? Just generally, without even going into the sector. And looking at that, we were finding that many policy and legislative frameworks were very gender neutral. Now, gender neutral is just gender neutral. It just means that it's neither here nor there when it comes to addressing the specific issues that women have. And that doesn't help anybody, especially because the need to elevate women should be an urgent need for this country. So having gender neutral policies or having gender neutral legislations is not something that is very helpful. There was only three that were gender gender, well, one that was gender transformative, which is the Constitution of Kenya, and then gender specific ones were the Land Act and the Procurement Act of 2015.
Okay.
So some of them have actually looked at how can we touch on the gender issue and what can we do. And of course, the underlying issue of an implementing, and you've heard people talk about the Constitution, not just in relation to gender, but in relation to a lot of things, even in politics, in relation to the 2/3 gender rule and what have you, and you've heard all of that. Where is the implementation? So we have gender transformative issues within the Constitution, but we do not have, there is no drive to implement. The implementation is not there, and so it doesn't transform. It doesn't do the work of being transformative. Some of the other things that also stood out was, and I'm sure this does not come as a surprise to many, but we did verify that 93% of informal businesses in Kenya are owned by women. Yes. And that speaks to the need. That's a big number. That's a big number. That's a very big number. That's a big number. And I think actually that would be my key finding. Yes. and 61, around 15 million, of Kenyans are employed in MSMEs. So many MSMEs are also informal. Because the process of formalization can be absolutely rigid. And so let me ask now that this is still part of the KAM mandate. Are you pushing some agenda at least to really help? Because as you said in the findings that you found out, and I know already I'm preempting a bit of your work, are you doing something to help? Because honestly, I will say this, I read this somewhere. Somebody was complaining saying, listen, the process of formalizing is crazy, we use that word. So what do we do now that you're seated at the organization sometimes that is very serious on policy? Is there something in the cooking? Actually, I do agree with you, and this is not a conversation that's had once. Over the past 6-7 years, every 2 weeks, there's a wild conversation on social media on just how ridiculous the licenses and fees can get. Just totally rigid and just making this idea of being an entrepreneur and self-employed really, really difficult. I saw a video that went viral the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but there was this young lady from Mathare who was talking about how she just finished her training and she was now trying to register her business. She had this idea of a business and she was trying to register. And she was like, okay, I went to a cyber cafe and I started applying, but these guys are asking me for 7,000 shillings. First they ask you for 1,000, then they ask for 2,000, then kidogo they've asked for. Then in total, it's 7,000. And you haven't started. And she's like, where I come from, I have to get fare to go into town, which is like 100 bob or something. You're asking me for 7,000 shillings? So that, I don't know if you saw that video, but it was very moving. And that is a young woman, in this country. Forget everything else that she has. Maybe there's even a family member who's telling her, why are you thinking of doing business? You don't even know how many other cultural things she's had to fight to get to this point where she wants to register a business. And then here you are asking her for 7,000 shillings. You've not started your business. You're right. Some of the experiences that some women have, we were talking to one of our members in Eldoret, and she was saying there's a time she literally cried in a meeting with officials because they just read her as a woman. She walked into a room and, your mama anasema nini? And from then the meeting just went south and she just could not get her voice. And that frustration, she's like, Sally, I just broke down. So anyway, so back to your question. Yes, sometimes it can get a lot frustrating. And sometimes it does seem that there's no support system for young people, and good, especially for young people looking to to get into business, looking to start and follow their vision and follow their dream.
Yeah.
For me, what I think, and this also brings us back to the question of taxation, which is something that people are now talking about now that the pump prices are also just going a bit berserk, is if you want people to thrive, if you want young businesses to thrive, I'm starting my business today because I have, it's easy to, it's a good thing to make tea. So let me get into tea. Wouldn't it be prudent? Wouldn't it be advisable? Wouldn't it be the way to go for us as a country to look at how we can expand the tea sector? For it to then have the capacity to absorb more entrepreneurs coming in.
And participants as well.
Make it more productive, make it more profitable. Then make value addition more profitable. Then have more people coming in.
Participate in it.
Don't just tax.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Actually now prompted because I was like, how do I avoid this question? How do I put it?
No, but because it's not, as our chairman likes to say, it's not a bottomless pit. It will run dry. Then what are you going to do? So really the most obvious thing that can be done in this situation, and especially coming out of a pandemic that shook a lot of businesses, is why don't we try and see how can we make these businesses that are already existing expand? How do we make them more profitable? So then that way, if I need to, as a young person, of course I'll not be working in a vacuum. I need a distributor. I need, as I said, I need the motorbike guy. If he's out of work, what am I going to do? If I can't find, if the kiosk can't sell my things, where am I going to get the money? If the kiosk guy closes because he doesn't have products, what happens to the residents? So it's a really long chain of who gets impacted by some of these policy issues. So for us, we do a lot in terms of policy advocacy. I am speaking about it here, but there's a lot that goes into those conversations that we have regularly with the government. So every day we have Kenya Association of Manufacturers talking to the government. Policy advocacy, what I normally say is that policy advocacy is a journey in 1,000 in 1,000 miles. So it's not, unfortunately, it's not a quick win kind of thing. You can't just get in and say, yay, we got this. Even though some things look like they should be a quick win. So policy advocacy is a journey in 1,000 miles. It's sitting at the table and finding what can be done now. What are the short-term sort of measures we can take? How does this impact the long term? How can we come together to make this thing work for young people? We also bring to the table regulators to interact with our members.
Which is a very important thing.
So we bring them to the table. So you don't hear about regulators and you think it's this big old building sitting on Harambee Avenue. But there's actually people in it that you can talk to. When we went to Nyeri, and let me just give you this example. We talked to the CEC of Trade, the Minister of Trade for the Nyeri County government, a young lady, progressive and very wonderful. In fact, if you can have her on your show, that would be amazing. But so you'd have to go to Nyeri.
No,
but she is an amazing person, and this is what she told us. She was talking about the traders in Karatina Market. But Karatina Market, I understand, is one of the biggest markets in East and Central Africa.
It's huge, and actually they have revamped. It's another. And so I passed by there. I saw.
It's huge,
Yes.
And so she was telling us there are things that we set as the county government, and to say this is what is going to be done. And these people, these traders in the market, they organize. They come in a group, like 60 people, and they're like, you said we are paying how much for this? No, we can't do that. And and it's a public participation where these guys are like, we are not backing down and we need you to back down. And at some point she's like, at some point even us as the county government, we're like, okay, fine, you guys can have what you want. So they organize and they go and they literally, it's like a haggling. It's like, you do, no, you do, I can't, I'm not moving, no, not 50-10. And you get, public participation is a really important thing.
Very important.
So that's just one example. So an example also of policy advocacy, organizing, and that is what the association does. It gets our members together. Let's get involved in the budget process of this country. Let's advise the government would be a great thing in terms of if it's looking at meeting its revenue targets in the next year. So that's what we do.
So I want to throw this in now, since you mentioned the word. I know there are many things that you guys are doing deep inside, because some of the biggest challenges that manufacturers are facing, business people are facing, is definitely on the levels of regulation, because business people could feel like we are not getting the relevant support we need to have. And of course, being that organ that is pushing an agenda, I would want you to tell me in a comment, because I know there's so many works under the orphan. A comment on taxation. We had a season. We had a season where manufacturers felt, they understand us and they give us some break. And then somebody will say it was premature because we had not even breathed. Then we're back in the system. And then they are
Look, so taxation is one of those really old historical things everywhere in the world. Yeah. My view about taxation is there's an obvious connection between taxation and public trust. Yeah. And where is the public trust now? So sometimes you'll tell people, pay your taxes so that this and this, for public goods, for example, this and this road networks can work, such and such transportation we are working on. So sometimes it's not that people don't want to pay, it's just that they don't see, there's no manifestation of the public goods. And these public goods, at what cost to me, at what cost to me to us as a society are they coming at? And so there's that. There's taxation and public trust go hand in hand. If you want to see if this thing is really working, every year, okay, sasa kuna taxation. Go out there, walk out there in the street, test what is the spirit of the people right now. Because people are angry. There's an anger and there's a frustration because we are coming out of a pandemic. We are trying to pick ourselves up. As you said, can we have some room to breathe? My former chairman, Mr. Sachin Gudka, used to say, please give businesses the room to do business. And I used to find that very profound because Miner has woken up in the morning to make bread. This is what Miner does. He's a bread maker. However, Miner spends 90% of his time doing tax issues, fighting tax issues. And it's a lot. Complaining about tax issues. And sometimes maybe Miner does not mind paying that tax.
Can I say something on that?
Yes.
It's the 19th today. Means tomorrow. And so that means today is a deadline. So what you're saying is what they are doing now. Exactly.
And so what Miner spends 90% of his time doing is something other than his business. So 10%, when do you grow? When do you decide to start now building an R&D facility within your bread making? Where is the money? Where is the time? Where is the productivity? So this is how I feel. So then public trust then is eroded, it's crushed. And when there's an erosion of public trust, there's then a sprouting of illicit trade. Because there's a connection between then the erosion of public trust and the level of tax compliance. Am I enabled to comply to these taxes? Then now, if it becomes a bit rigid, you then find, and the illicit trade, Flora sits on the anti-counterfeit. She can tell you the illicit trade network is sophisticated. It always finds a way to grow. Don't give it loopholes, don't give it the space to grow because you refuse to make your tax policies nurturing.
That's like a takeout, And I hope certainly some regulators are watching because you need to be enablers, not people who are stifling.
Don't stifle.
Yeah.
Don't stifle. But number one is also bring back the public trust. Make us believe.
That's
If you tell me you're taking 10K out of another 10K out of the other 10, on top of the other 10K, make me believe that there's something that you're doing.
Absolutely.
But don't do that and then I am seeing a lady having her child in the middle of the street in Nairobi because the healthcare system is down in the dumps. Public trust is at an all-time low.
Public trust, absolutely.
Yes.
You know, this conversation is actually getting some touch here because I can see some comments and of course some questions. One of the person is asking, has devolution, I think from where you sit, enhanced manufacturing in Kenya? What would be a quick comment on that?
Devolution?
Yeah, now that you've been going around, by the way.
So devolution has its pros and cons.
Okay.
In a way, yes, devolution has helped. Having the policy makers at a very accessible local level is a great thing. And also being able to tailor make the way you do things at that local level with your policy makers has been an amazing thing. There are still challenges, however, because devolution means that the counties have to look for ways of getting their own funds. And in many cases, we've ended up with multiple levies and fees and charges. So if I want to move my things from Nyeri to Laikipia to Nairobi, I will pay probably a lot more in moving my goods because of levies and charges throughout the counties. Than I did in producing the entire product. So there's the pros and cons, and that's a topic for another day. I'm happy to come and discuss that.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Thanks for that comment. So someone is saying here, Tony, it seems it's easier to import rather than to buy local. What is the association doing to promote locally manufactured goods? I think there are two parts of those questions. From where you sit, does it seem easier to import rather than to buy local? And then, of course, the other part of what are you doing to promote locally manufactured goods? Easier?
I can see why anyone would be tempted to think it's easier because at some point you look at, even looking at the ports and shipping logistical issues that are at the port right now and the increase in those costs and the demurrage and the storage costs there. It's easier for someone to think, why don't I just import? It's easier. However, if we are thinking long term about this country, can we really go with the easy option anymore? We need to bring back the discussion of growing local industries. As I said, let me go back. Let me go back to my cotton analogy. Imagine what that would do. Imagine what that would
revolutionize the industry, create a lot of employment. Do a lot of stuff.
So it's easy to think, why don't I just do? But what would that do? So it takes all of us to amplify our voices and say.
So let me ask you, you know, this is just top of my mind because I'm trying to understand Tony's mind now. Do you think, you know, we are saying, we're saying the government as well should put down regulation that will enable local manufacturing. Do you think also, because I've seen other countries do that, sometimes it has worked, sometimes it has not. Where you put regulations such that cheap manufactured goods that are coming from wherever don't just have easy access.
Absolutely.
Locally,
yes, absolutely. And that is something, by the way, we work very closely with the government
then
on.
You have some tasks.
So we have, and these cheap things also coming through the illicit trade network. So some of them do, and some of them don't. However, and those ones that don't, it's because they have a more competitive advantage because they have been catered for in terms of tax policies in their own companies. I mean, in their own countries. So if they come and they're competing with you, who's had to produce after having all of these taxes on you, so the cost of your bread is 20 times higher than the guy who's bringing it in from our neighboring countries. So which bread am I going to? Also, don't forget that the taxation that is hitting you and your production is hitting my pocket as a consumer. So I don't have any spending money. So I won't. I am loyal in my heart. And I am a patriot to this country. But I will buy what will save me money because I need this money cash. So it is up to us to make sure that our local industries and our local entrepreneurs are competitive.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Certainly a lot of work needed, and we appreciate the efforts that you're doing. There's a lot of balance in there to do. Let me just read some of the comments. Great chat with Sally. That's Wangari. I know that person. Looking fabulous. Oh, that's you now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great representation and leader in driving the agenda in the manufacturing sector. Thanks for that comment. Somebody is saying, okay, I think we have answered that question. There's somebody saying that great insights from our very own Sally Kahio, oozing inclusivity and empowerment insights. We must place women and youth at the forefront with appropriate support systems. And I certainly we agree with you.
Absolutely.
Somebody is saying, that's Jane, how much is it to join KM and what benefits will I get as an SME member? I know we had mentioned on that, but maybe they've just joined later on. What did you tell them? How much is it? I don't know about how much.
We have a special fee actually for manufacturing micro and small businesses. Okay. So just come to us. Let us talk about, like I said, we don't just tell you, we don't get all prescriptive. We want to, we don't give generalities. We want to see what it is. How do you do your business? What value do you want to whatever, but we have a special fee for micros, so you won't pay like everybody else, and it's quite affordable. It's actually only 10,000 bob a year. Yeah.
You heard it. I mean, that's a special one.
That's a special,
And you have all these benefits.
And you can access, you can access all these benefits. You can get in touch with the larger manufacturers. You can ask them a few tidbits about subcontracting. Yeah. You can get training.
So that actually means even mentorship is encompassed.
Yes, absolutely. We are very big on mentorship.
I'm going to ask you this question because, you've talked about these forums of mentorship, and now COVID is here and all that. From your standpoint, how was COVID in general to the manufacturing sector?
Mixed reactions. Some people grew during COVID because unfortunately or fortunately.
Definitely. I had Flora here and she told me that now that
she
we
grew.
have all this ginger and lemon, people getting to aware about their own health. There was a lot of ask for this particular product, and so they had an arm grow.
Yes. So the borders closing in a way made us look internally, and when we looked internally, people are like, kumbe even mine can do this, and then all of a sudden we had this demand.
I saw Kitui doing stuff.
Yes. Mamangilu is doing some amazing work in her community. That's, by the way, that is some very good example of youth and women empowerment. Wow. But some people grew, but some people were crushed. And it's really just that mix of we had some people saying we had some massive growth, but other people coming and saying we're absolutely crashed and we haven't recovered. Majority of them. And those are the people that need the ladder. So what's happening right now is we were given, there were those packages that were given during COVID for businesses. But then immediately January came. We went back to default settings. You know what that's like? I like analogies because I'm a storyteller. So that's like somebody falling in a manhole and breaking their leg. And then you say, let me get you a ladder to help you come up. Then you put the ladder in the manhole. It's not stable, but it will work. It's a ladder. They crawl. By the time they're getting there, you're like, okay, cheers, you remove the ladder. See, now from there, you can. That's how some businesses feel. It's like we were only just getting to find ourselves through this. The pandemic is still here.
It's still here.
And it has changed the way we live. So we were just trying to find ourselves. We were just now getting into this mode of, okay, sasa twende kazi. And then the incentives, now we've gone back into more taxation. So it just looks, so we had that bit of a mix. You're right.
Okay. All right, there's another question here. I think it's Gilbert. He's saying that Kenya exports a lot to the region. Certainly, What opportunities should manufacturers, I think he wanted to say, what opportunities should manufacturers, tap into? He didn't end the question. I'm trying to just fill it up for him. But I think it's a fact, yes, we export quite a lot in the region. Is that true from the facts that you have?
Our exports, Okay.
In the region around? Yeah.
We do export.
Yeah.
We do export.
Okay.
The AFCFTA is here. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is here with us, and I'm sure you know about that.
I know about it. I've seen that. Yeah.
It's going to be one of the largest. It's actually going to be the largest market in the world.
Wow.
And
this
export
is just
growth,
yeah.
And so export growth is going to be a very critical conversation for this country.
Yeah.
It's not the way it used to be. And I don't know whether that speaks to the decline or not. You'll have to find Anzetse Were, who's a very top economist in this country. She can give you the statistics.
Yeah.
What we do need to do is make sure that we can export a lot more and take advantage of this coming market. That's now going to be and if we are not being very competitive locally, I don't know how we are going to fare in a bigger market. So we need to look at our structures, we need to look at our taxation, we need to look at our legislation, and all of that. Wow. And including everybody in this economic development process.
Okay. You know, time is up.
Time is up.
I know,
yes.
But I would like, I don't want you to leave without telling me, because I saw there's something you're doing. I think there's a WIM Gala dinner. I just wanted to speak about it and why it's important.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Women in Manufacturing program has hosted the Women in Manufacturing Gala dinner from 2018, 2019. Last year, of course, we were unable to do it, but this year we've done it and we are taking it virtually. I think women everywhere should tune into this, whether you're in manufacturing or not, because this will be such a learning opportunity. We'll have women on the panel. Is first and foremost is fire. The panel is amazing. You have Shiro Owero-Waithaka, you have Marianne Musangi, you have Amina, you have Jennifer Toto, who's the first female African CEO of Bata. So you have a fire panel. We'll have great sessions. We'll even have an interactive session at first where you get to pitch your ideas, whether it's a business idea, and have somebody talk you through it. But you'll learn a lot and you will get uplifted. Let me tell you, there's a lot to be said about conversation. When I sat with a friend over tea yesterday, I said, now I feel nourished. I feel nourished because sometimes you're there, you're thinking, this is just happening to me. But conversation is important. When somebody tells you, yeah, me too, but this is how I overcome this challenge. So I think it's a great opportunity to learn and to grow and to interact with industry leaders.
So I'm sure they can just get into the social media sites or
Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
Look for CAM Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, I had so many other questions for myself, but I can't because of time. But I wanted to choose the last one to be mine. Sorry, guys. Now, so what do you think is the biggest challenge for the generation of women behind you? And, you know, what would be like your last statement to them? Of course, looking back and saying, yeah, the women behind me, this is the greatest challenge I think they are facing now, especially in the manufacturing sector. The biggest challenge, I still think, unfortunately, is that the more we change, the more we remain the same as a world. And so there's all of this interventions that digitality has brought to humanity, but it has also exacerbated the bias, the biasness that is there in terms of gender bias. So I think, however, that they're doing a splendid job in representing themselves. My takeaway for them is this. The good book says, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Wow.
And there's never been a more profound statement. Do you know why I say this? Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. It is from your heart that your dreams come. It is from your heart that your vision comes. So guard your passion, guard your fire, guard your light.
Wow.
You know, because that is where you find your strength. That is where you live and breathe through. This is where you find your life. This is where you find yourself. You know, this is where you find your wings. So guard that so that you're able to live fully and live in your light. And that would be my takeaway from them. For them, sorry.
My goodness, what a better way to end. Guard your heart, you know, and of course this applies to both genders, is it?
Yes, absolutely, to all young people. Use TikTok to guard your heart. Guard your heart.
I like that. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And keep doing a good job. We certainly need our girls, our sisters, our mothers as well to feel like they have a place indeed, and representing, ensuring we have women represented as well, starting such an arm as well and spearheading it. We appreciate all the works that you're doing.
Thank you.
And of course for your time to nourish our business people over tea. Of course, a shout out to Melvin's Tea. Thank you so much. Wow, this cup is celebrating 25 years of flavor. We love it. Our host as well, our guest as well has had, you call it what? Blue what?
Berry Blast.
Okay, yeah.
The Berry Blast.
Yeah.
It just...
I'm still getting to know. We have variety
amazing
here. So there's always, you can't miss anything. And I think I'll give Tony something later on because of the good things that he has asked, the good question that he has asked.
Yes.
So you'll let me know what you like.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming once again.
Thank you.
To our business people, as we always end, keep working. Keep your hope alive, because as Sally has told us, there's a lot to do, and of course as you guard your heart. Bye-bye for now. See you. Now, everybody has a different story when it comes to building a business. To some, it's never an easy task to partake. And to some, they have very good stories of how they started from scratch and built their empires to profitability. And that's the reason why Bizna Kenya and MC Moments have partnered to bring you Biz Talks. And here we shall be hosting mentors, people who have gone ahead of us, people who have created these empires, people who have also on the verge of creating these particular big businesses. And these lessons will be valuable for you, the business person, for you, the aspiring business person, the entrepreneur, so that at least you can make wise decisions when it comes to building that business. So every Friday at 8 a.m. on all business platforms, that's the Facebook and YouTube channel,